What do you think?
I think it's like a wax museum with a pulse.
Wait, how did they do that? So here, the lighting is pretty simple, but what confused me was there was hard light on the nose, while the rest of the shadows have soft light. They have that gradual line between highlights to shadows, and it stuck with me. So let's analyze that. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the different audio qualities this video has. I'm still trying to figure out what's the best way to capture audio, so please bear with me. Thank you so much. So with this scene, I was really confused at first because you can see a hard light over here, but then at the same time, there's also soft shadows accenting it over here on this side of his face. Because I guess I just never realized that you could have a mix of both. Because whenever I tried lighting for my class projects, it would either only be soft light or hard light. But now that I've analyzed this, but first of all, what are the light sources in this scene over here? So there's a loop light hitting his face over here, causing that loop, and as seen by the highlights on his face over here, it's a loop light essentially. And in addition to that, there's also a backlight highlighting his hair and separating him more from the background. And other than that, I was left confused still as to what's causing this soft fall off, this gradual fall off on the shadows on his face. But then I realized whenever they were walking through the restaurant in that in that one long continuous shot, the restaurant is filled with lights, bunch of neon lights and whatever and ever there is. There's just a lot of lights basically, and even here in this scene, you can see there's hella lights. Like that, I don't know, is that a window light over here? Practicals over here, even though these practicals won't really do anything that much. So what I realized is what's causing this soft shadows is ambient light or light from the environment itself. And why this is unaffected by the ambient light is because the loop light is stronger than the ambient. So thinking about it, I was really not sure if that was the case, but then I tried recreating it on my own, and I think I was surprised that I was able to recreate it to an extent. So here's the lighting setup that I had in mind, and this was before adjustments whenever I was actually doing it. So the lighting setup initially was this. So it was just an LED panel casting the loop light, and then I really didn't have another light source that could do the edge light properly. So what I had was I just used my window, and since the sun was out, it was casting light here. So I just positioned myself to the edge, to the side of the window, so that it would still cast an edge light to me. Unfortunately, it wasn't a hair light, but given with what I have, I can compromise with that. But then, so we got the loop light, and we got the edge light. But how about the ambient? So what my solution for this was having my flash with a soft box attached to it to bounce it off the ceiling and then hit it to me. So since bouncing it, it creates a more diffuse light, and it also helps that the ceiling surface is rough, so there's even more diffusion. and it helps with lifting off the contrast. Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's an ambient light, but it's also a fill light. Well, I guess they're interchangeable. No, no. I guess the more proper term is that it's a fill light, but it could also be ambient light because the restaurant is just filled with lights. But for my particular setup, since there's no other lights than these light sources, the loop light, the LED panel, the sunlight. In my case, it's a fill light, but in the restaurant scene, wherever they filmed it, it was actually an ambient light. But pish posh, tomato tomato. So that was my solution to that. To get that soft contrast. That gradual fall off the shadows to the face while retaining that hard shadow on the nose for the loop light. Hopefully that made sense. So yes.
So here's the final image. I was able to recreate that hard shadow on the nose while maintaining a soft, gradual contrast ratio on the other sides of the face. And although it really doesn't look the same compared to the original image due to the different positions of the light, I think I got the technique down and how they were able to compose and gaffer the slide. So I'm happy. Hey, the setup I had wasn't the final iteration of it. What stayed the same was the key light and the edge light, but what I adjusted was the fill light or my flash. I made it output more power and I pointed it more towards the ceiling so there's more bounce light hitting me. And I am happy with how the photos turned out. And I also made a comparison between a setup without the flash and with the flash, and it really shows how much the fill light helps balance and decrease the contrast ratio so that the shadows don't look that dramatic and it still has that soft look. And as I bring this to a close, there wasn't really anything much to it. There was no innovative technique that needed this kind of analysis to it. But it looks cool, and I know why it looks cool, so it's a win-win. So if you enjoyed or learned something from this video, please do consider dropping a like and following me on my socials. It'd be really great. And I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.